Hello there, happy Friday, and welcome to the Green Pill. Yes, it's a place where a passionate, health and performance obsessed geek brings to you a snippet of good data and an actionable tip to help you feel better. Now, over the course of the last month, I've introduced the three foundational pillars of good health, as I've dubbed them, to be sleep, movement, and nutrition. And last week, I started introducing the first of three higher levels, or what I call the three mental or spiritual pillars of good health, and the first of which was meditation. Now, this week, I'm going to talk to you about one of two areas that I consider to be the more controversial topics, just purely not from a scientific perspective. There's more than enough data over the course of decades that shows the link to health. However, it's just not very well known in the mainstream or talked about. And the pillar today is people. And the data source is Johann Hari. Now, he was the author of multiple books on mental health, on anxiety, on depression, and addiction. And he, for this book, Lost Connections, that I'll include in the comments, he traveled over 40,000 miles over the course of 3 years to meet with all the leading experts on these topics. And he reported to us what he found to be the 9 scientifically proven causes of mental health issues, and one of them being loneliness. Now, he describes learning over the course of his journey, what I actually learned from other health topics whilst coming across this concept that I think is the most fundamental thing about how to get your head around, how can I make myself feel good? And it's essentially this: we still operate like cavemen. Now, the world has changed an awful lot around us, but our minds and our bodies and the systems and the way they function still very much operate exactly the same way. Now, how does that interrelate to loneliness? Well, he described in a conversation with Dr. John Cacioppo, who was the leading expert in loneliness before he passed a few years ago. Johann described, he explained the concept like this, that back in the day, essentially, we weren't the strongest animals around and we weren't the fastest, but we were the best at coming together. And that's ultimately what allowed us to hunt, to survive, and to thrive. Now, that meant that we evolved to be in a tribe, to be together. The idea of not being part of the tribe, back then it was essentially a death sentence. And even now, how does that translate today? Well, when you're in a group and you're the only one not doing something, it feels uncomfortable. When the harshest punishment we have is solitary confinement for people. It's the reason why lockdowns suck. It translates in so many ways, and I think we can all relate to it now more than ever. And so I guess what that means is, scientifically speaking, when we are exiled from the tribe or when we are lonely, it floods our body and our brain. Our instinctive primal instincts kick in, and it floods our body and our brain with cortisol and inflammatory stress chemicals, and it causes health issues because it's a signal to our body that if we're not around people, we are not okay, we are not safe. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that today, but it's still the reaction that we have in our bodies. And I think I very vastly underestimated just how important human connection was in terms of health, but I think we all appreciate that now more than ever. So what is the actionable tip for this week? Well, like so many others, it's essentially a mindset shift. It's to get your head around the concept of people interaction is fundamentally important. It's like a health supplement. It really is. And don't spend today alone. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope this was helpful. Do ping me back any comments or questions that you have. Always happy to help. And remember to stack the odds in your favor and feel good now.